Quick.
Yeah, she get off today. I took her outside. She did her business. And just
I didn't know.
yard. I had to pick her up, run her in. I can't let her live like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, they brought it up.
From here today, and they can try and get up tomorrow.
Yeah, the whole green is, the post is there, but there's nothing else.
So nobody really pushes the issue.
I didn't know that till I went out, and they pointed that out to me too, so.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Did it?
A day.
Yeah. And a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Pastor Dan, could you please give the invocation?
Dan Meisick, Ignite Church, Freeport. I'd like to read from Psalm 72, verses 15 through 19 in the Passion Translation. Long live this King. May the wealth of the world be laid before him. May there be ceaseless praise and prayer to him. May all the blessing be brought to him. Bless us with a bountiful harvest, with golden grain swaying on the mountain fields. May the cities be full of praising people, fruitful and filled, so that his name may be honored forever. May the fame of his name spring forth. May it shine on like the sunshine. In him all will be blessed to bless others. And may all the people bless the one who blessed them. Praise God forever. He is the one and only God of wonders, surpassing every expectation. The blazing glory of his name will be praised forever. May all the earth overflow with his glory. Faithful is our King. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, now that it's 6 o'clock, Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Mayor Miller,
Here.
Clem,
Here.
McClanathan.
Here.
Ross is absent. Parker.
Here.
Busker.
Here.
Ross is here.
Brashaw.
Here.
Keister.
Here.
Chesney.
Here.
And back to Alderperson Ross.
Here.
And then if you could please stand and join us with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman Keister.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we will start with item number 1 is the approval of the agenda. Is there such a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Keister, seconded by Alderman Busker for the approval of the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Item number 2 is the approval of the minutes from August 20th, 2018 meeting. Is there such a motion for the approval of the minutes?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Keister, seconded by Alderman Chesney for the approval of the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Public comments. Right, none, there are 2, but they'll wait until following since they are not agenda items. And so item number 4 is the consent agenda. All the items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature unless there is something that a member of the council would like to have removed for further discussion. Is there anything a council member would have discussion on? Seeing none, the consent agenda consists of the approval to receive and place on file the Greater Freeport Partnership's monthly report to the council, the 2019 city holiday schedule, the city council calendar of meetings, and the committee of the whole calendar of meetings, the minutes from the building commission meeting on July 11, 2018, the minutes from the Foreign Fire Insurance Board from August 9th, 2018, the Fire Department report, July 2018, and the Cash and Investment Report, July 31st, 2018. The approval of the finance bills payable in the total of $375,460.36, and the approval of payroll for pay period ending August 18th, 2018, in the total of $569,098.24. Is there a motion for the approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Was that you, Pat? Motion made by Alderman Busker, seconded by Alderman Brashaw for the approval of the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll on the passage?
Keister,
Aye.
Chesney,
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
McClanathan, Ross,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Busker,
Aye.
and Brashaw.
Aye.
That passes 8-0.
Thank you very much. Item number 5 is a proclamation that I was asked to give, so I'm just going to read it if you don't mind, just a few moments. The proclamation is, whereas September is known as the National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, which helps promote resources and awareness around the issues of suicide prevention. Resources are available to teach others how to help and how to talk about suicide without increasing risk of harm. And whereas suicidal thoughts may affect anyone regardless of age, gender, or background. And whereas suicide is the third leading cause of death among young people. And whereas Freeport, Illinois is no different than any other community in the country, but chooses to publicly state and place our full support behind local educators, mental health professionals, athletic coaches, PAC leaders, and parents as partners in supporting our community in simply being available to one another. And whereas local and national organizations such as the Suicide Prevention Services are on the front lines of battle that many still refuse to discuss in public. And whereas the youth in our community should understand that throughout life's struggles, we all need the occasional reminder that we all fight battles of our own. Whereas I encourage all residents to take time to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and neighbors over the next few days to genuinely convey their appreciation for their existence by any gesture they deem appropriate. Now, therefore, I, Jody Miller, Mayor of the City of Freeport, do hereby proclaim that September 2018 as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in the City of Freeport. And item number 6, we had the recognition of Curtis Timmer, and he's unable to join us tonight, but Chief Allen, would you like to be able to say a few things?
Yeah, he was unable to make it tonight, but District Chief Timmer is one of our wildland instructors. He's been able to teach on the fire department, and he was able to travel around nationally and was recently deployed out to Oregon. On his own time, this is time that he trades or uses his own vacation time to do. He taught some of the National Guard soldiers out in Oregon, and they immediately deployed after that week to go to work on some of the forest fires out there. As such, he was recognized by the governor of Oregon along with 5 other members of his crew that did the instruction for these soldiers. So with his efforts and his time that he took to do that, really helped out the state of Oregon and fighting the fires out in the west. So we wanted to recognize him and his efforts.
Thank you. Item number 7, recognition of service awards. Manager Crow.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to call Carla Green up. So, Carla has been serving the city for 20 years as of the 14th, which is I think it's next Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So this is to recognize those 20 years of service and say thank you, and I'll turn it over to Chief Barkalow to talk a little bit about.
I just want you to look out there and the camera right there. Carla is been such an asset to our department. She's been with the city for 20 years, for 5. We stole you from the library, and so you're in charge of the Records Bureau. You do a great job, Carla. You bring so much to the department, not only laughter, but you're very efficient at your job, and I truly want to thank you for the last 5 years. Thank you so much.
Yes, congratulations, Carla. Okay. Item number 8 is the second reading of ordinance 2018-45. Madam Clerk, could you please read this for the record?
An ordinance amending Title VI, Administration, Section 224.05, absent or disability or vacancy in office of the codified ordinances of the City of Freeport, to provide that the deputy city manager shall assume the powers and duties of the city manager in the absence, disability, or vacancy in the office of the city manager.
Thank you. Manager Crowe.
As we had talked about both at the Committee of the Whole and then at the last council meeting, this establishes the order for the deputy city manager to move into the city manager position. If for some reason the city manager is absent, this gives, right now I've just been writing a letter saying, giving the deputy city manager the roles and responsibilities, and this codifies that position.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll on the passage of ordinance 2018-45?
Keister.
Aye.
Chesney.
Aye.
Clem.
Aye.
McClanathan.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
And Brashaw.
Aye.
That passes 8-0.
Thank you. Item number 9 is the second reading of ordinance 2018-46. Could you please read this?
An ordinance amending Part 12, Planning and Zoning, Chapter 1220, Planning Commission, Chapter 1242, Administration, Enforcement, and Penalty, and Chapter 1244, Board of Zoning Appeals of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Freeport.
Thank you. Manager Crowe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is to align us, our Board of Zoning and Appeals, as well as the Planning Commission, in line with what 98% of the communities in the state of Illinois are doing. It makes the Zoning Board of Appeals as the fact-finding body and the Planning Commission as the reviewer for meeting the requirements of the comprehensive plan. That establishes it, and they already are set up for order for the ZBA to meet first and the Planning Commission to meet second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll on the passage of ordinance 2018-46?
Keister.
Aye.
Chesney.
Aye.
Clem.
Aye.
McClanathan. Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
And Brashaw.
Aye.
That passes 8-0.
Thank you. Item number 10 is second reading of ordinance 2018-47. Could you please read this?
An ordinance amending Part 6, General Offenses Code, Chapter 626, Drugs, Section 626.02A of the Codified Ordinances of Freeport regarding cannabis.
Manager Crowe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is, as we discussed both in the Committee of the Whole and the last council meeting, this is strictly aligning, changing our code to say that we're adopting whatever the state code is as we're going forward. We already have 3 codes that say that as it deals with cannabis, and this aligns our last code to say that we will adopt what the state code is as going forward.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll on the passage of ordinance 2018-47?
Keister.
Aye.
Chesney.
Aye.
Clem.
Aye.
McClanathan. Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
And Brashaw.
Aye.
That passes 8-0.
Well, I would have to say this is the record breaker. Let's move on to the department head reports. Finance.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just have 2 items for tonight. First one is that the staff will be meeting with our auditor next week and going over the preliminary numbers, and we should be able to present those numbers to the City Council at your September 20th meeting. And the second item I have is that Ben Fritz, our building inspector, passed his commercial mechanical inspector exam this past week. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything today.
Fire.
Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor.
Sorry,
Just a
did you say-
reminder.
just one second. Did you have something?
Yeah, I'd like to,
Sure.
it's something with Public Works. Is your crew the one that mows the lawn at the city cemetery?
Yes, they do.
Okay, I have received, and it's not in my ward, but I have received several pictures and complaints that the road, and the name escapes me right now, the road that runs north and south on the east side of the cemetery, when they mow that all gets blown out into the street. And for 2-wheeled vehicles like motorcycles and bicycles, that is extremely dangerous. I know I've I can think of 6 accidents and injuries so far this year from people who have gone down on motorcycles with that kind of condition. So would you please check into that, and if it is being done, could you please see that it no longer is?
I've had this discussion with our cemetery caretaker, and how we tend to mow some of those where we don't have enough room and we don't want to stack the grass up on the fence right there is sometimes if we're actually out street sweeping, he'll contact the street sweeper, and the street sweeper will actually be waiting up the street for him to finish, and then the sweeper will come over and pick it up. If we're not sweeping that day, he'll mow it out, and then he'll actually mow the road to push it back in.
Okay, thank you. But like I said, I've received several complaints through the organizations I'm with about this, and several photos, and they wanted to see if we could do something, make sure we could do something about it.
Alderman Keister, that if you look at that photo, it's actually quite comical. At the top of that photo, you can see the street sweeper sitting.
Oh, really?
Yep,
Okay,
there-
I'll have to look, I'll have to
yellow-
look at that again, but anyway, I appreciate that. It does make it a lot safer for two-wheeled vehicles like motorcycles and bicycles to get that off the street.
Okay, fire.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder to everyone in the community that we're having a Citizens Fire Academy. It'll be the 5 Tuesdays in October, 6 to 8 p.m.
Thank you. Police.
Thank you. I just want to, I'm sure that everyone heard about our federal, we wrapped up our federal case. It was quite extensive and a lot of time and effort into that, almost 2 years. I just want to say thanks to, Manager Crow and everyone for support on that and patience. I know that sometimes it feels like the wheels of justice move slowly, and sometimes I can't divulge all the information behind the scenes, but I'm really hoping this is going to make a dent in our community.
Thank you. Water and sewer.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Two things with the rainfall that we've had over the last weekend within starting 7 a.m. last Tuesday going to 7 a.m. this Tuesday. Freeport has had just under 8 inches of rain. In the last 30 days, that amount was just under 13 inches. The water plant's doing fine. We have high flows going into the wastewater plant, but staff is working to take care of that. And that's all I have.
Thank you. IT. And it looks like we'll move on to manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple things. The river is expected to crest at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning at 13 feet 2 inches. We currently have sand out at St. Paul's, Crate Park Maintenance Facility, and also this afternoon we put sand out on the Detmer Bridge, on the Detmer side of that bridge for people that are interested in it. We will be continuing to monitoring it. Over the weekend, we've been in communications with FACC, Salvation Army, as well as the various church groups as we move forward. St. Paul's, for the people on the east side, has offered their facility if that is needed. Our community development director will be on board the 17th of September. He is in the community right now attempting to find a house to live in, house or apartment. And I appreciate all the help from realtors out there and him locating a place to rent to begin with. Float Street Bridge will be coming out. We'll be presenting to council next meeting, should be. So we'll start seeing work for the people that are on Float Street. We'll be notifying, but there'll be a lot of work and a lot of the road torn up as we move forward to replace the water main. And we'll do some sewer work through there, and we're also going to be doing some lead service line replacement. Final thing is, I sent out a note to the council members on the solar farm. The one thing is, please feed back to me. It was reminded to me by the council tonight, council, not council, that if we object to this, we have to have a special meeting. The objection has to come from a resolution. So please get that feedback to me. Thank you. That's all, Mayor.
Okay, good, thank you. Just a couple of events that I wanted to draw the attention for the council. On Saturday from 9 to 4 is a fundraiser for pet rescue at the Carlson Canine Camp, as well as the Davis Mental Health Golf Outing is on Saturday at 10 o'clock at Park Hills Golf Course. And also, next Friday, the 14th, is the 8th annual fundraiser for Friends of the Pecatonica. So if you want to be a part of that, it will be at Big O's from 4 to 9 next Friday night. And so, again, you know, we've got some great events taking place in Freeport and lots of people that volunteer on these organizations. So would like to say thank you to the Freeport Art Museum as well as the Park District for another successful event that was, Art in the Park was on Sunday. And then even despite the rain, it was still a great crowd that showed up and went through all the watered areas within the park, but it was a great event, so thank you to them. Alderman Keister.
Yes, Mayor, just real quickly, another event that's coming up on the 15th is the annual mail run out at Alberta's Airport. Anybody that don't know what that is, it's basically a scavenger hunt with airplanes. You're given a route, you're given items to find from the air, and the crux to it is you can use no modern navigational devices. You have to plot the whole route by hand. You cannot use any GPS or anything at all for it. And you are graded on taking the pictures, how close you are to your amount of time, and last year they threw in a new twist. You also have to estimate how much fuel you're going to use during the flight to do this. So this will be on the 15th. Unfortunately, I don't have my license, so I will not be a pilot in that, but I'm pretty sure I'll be a navigator in somebody's airplane going on that route.
Thank you. Alderman Chesney.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Alderman Clem.
I just want to thank the manager and everybody that has been in the background over the weekend and monitoring the flood, everything that is going on. As we know, it's very serious, and it just shows us how quick it can change with a couple rains. But thank you guys for that. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Alderman McClanathan.
I agree with those sentiments, but nothing further.
Thank you. Alderman Ross.
Yes, I want to ditto what Alderman Clem said in reference to City Manager Cole. He's been on the ball, and everything is, you know, we got to put it this way: if the water comes, the ball is rolling.
Thank you, Art. Alderman Parker.
Just a big pat in the back to the police department and all the law enforcement personnel involved in the drug raid. It was fantastic. Heard a lot of great comments, and thank you.
Alderman Busker.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the police department for making our streets a lot safer. You guys do a lot of hard work, and you very rarely get to thank you every day. So thank you very much. Nothing else.
Alderman Brashaw.
Thank you, Your Honor. I've had a few constituent complaints about Freeport being a very grassy, hairy city, and I had to ask what that meant, and they were complaining about the weeds that are growing along the curb sides. Even some of the nicer neighborhoods have foot-tall grass and weeds growing. Like, sometimes there's a little bit of soil there, sometimes it's people just aren't cleaning things up, they're not trimming carefully, and it does look kind of messy. So if Freeport wants to get together and clean up their neighborhoods, pick up the garbage, pull the weeds along your curbways, mow them, pull them or weed eat them away so that they look a little better. I'd appreciate it. I do want to mention that 6th Ward Neighborhood Watch meeting is this coming Thursday, 6 p.m. at Schwartz Funeral Home. We have a couple of really great speakers. Manager Crow is going to give the updates on the Demeter. Some people know it as the Gladewood Bridge, and so I've had a lot of constituents concerned why the construction hasn't started on that, even though I've been telling them it probably won't begin until sometime mid-2019. But Manager Crow will be talking about that, and then we also have the Executive Director, Rebecca Motley from the Greater Freeport Partnership, will be introducing herself, talking about her position and how she is positively affecting Freeport by pulling all the organizations together. So we are also looking forward to hearing how she's going to help move Freeport forward. Again, this Thursday, 6 p.m., September 6th. I hope everybody can make it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is public comments, and I have been asked to read into the record a letter written by Brent Shoemaker. And so there's a lot of pictures and maps on this, so I will leave it with the city clerk, so if anyone would like to view that, it will be on record that way. But the gist of the letter is as follows. The Freeport City Plat shows the Countryside Estate Stormwater Detention Path Bike area was located on Countryside Lane. This land is a part of the Rye Ridge development and owned by the developers Darko, Ambassador Homes, SWPC Investment LLC, and the Rye Ridge Condominium Homeowners Association. The Freeport Parks District has an easement with the bike for the bike path. The Freeport City Council has been referencing this area as the Sandy Point Detention Area, and we are asking that the council records be changed to reflect the accurate location, which is the Countryside Estate Stormwater Detention Bike Path Area on Countryside Lane, and the owners, developers of the property known as Darko, SWPC Investment, and the Rye Ridge Development. The GIS shows the maps and shows the streets in part that the Countryside Estate Stormwater Detention Area services Countryside Lane, Rye Ridge Development, Barley Trail, Farmdale Lane, Wheatland Trail, Sandy Point Drive, and the Park Hills Golf Course. The detention area has not been fully functional for years. Water is sitting in the channel, causing out-of-control growth, creating a swampy, mosquito-infested area. While the detention area was made, the engineers indicated that unless the channel was kept free from growth, it would need to be dredged to keep the channel clear and water running through. There are safety concerns due to the detention area bike path and surrounding land's poor condition. We are asking that no further building be completed in the Rye Ridge development until the Countryside Estate Detention Area is fully maintained and functional. This includes the building of homes in the residential enterprise zone on Rye Ridge Circle and Rye Ridge Court. This request has also been made to Lowell Crow and Peter McClanathan in February and in April of 2018. The Rye Ridge development border north to south, the Sandy Knoll property is not being mowed and is in violation of the weed ordinance. Growth along this area is as high as 12 feet. There's also debris on the southwest end of the property. The property is owned by Darko. The Sandy Knoll Condominium Association has been working with Alderman Peter McClanathan since 2015, and more recently, City Manager Lowell Crow. We appreciate the work of the City of Freeport has done to this date and look forward to your response, including a timeline for the clearing of the channel, grading and second drain being added, and mowing of all the property to be done. We would also appreciate information on who will be taking responsibility for the various parts of the land, i.e. City of Freeport, Darko, and the SWPC investment. Thank you for your attention, Sandy Knoll Condominium Association. So if you would like to see those maps, you're more than welcome to do so. Also, for public comments, we have Barbara Burns signed up.
Thank you. I am here to invite you all to come out to the fairgrounds at the end of the month, the 29th and 30th of September, to our annual dog show. We have about 800 to 1,000 dogs that come out every year to strut their stuff. It's a kind of a beauty contest, but it's for purebred dogs, and we do this for breeding purposes, to advance, to find the dogs that fit best the standards that's written for each dog. It's a lot of fun, and you get to see there's about 125 different breeds out there. We also have what they call Fast Cat, which is like dog races, which the dogs absolutely love. Last year, we had Mr. Crow and Mr. Chesney help present Best in Show at the end of the day, and this year, the mayor is going to present Best in Show one day, and the second day is going to be our representative, Brian Stewart. But we have a great time, and I would love for you to come out and see what we do. We do bring in a lot of money into the community that weekend, and I just think we need to have everybody out, as many as they can, to see what goes on, because it takes a whole year to put this event on. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Next, we have Kay Ostenberg.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay? I'm Kay Osberg from Highland Community College, and met many of you before. Hello. I'm here today to talk about a Highland Community College project that I think, of course, is spectacular, but that's because I've been working on it, and that's the Jane Addams tribute wall. And basically, Highland has taken a 20-foot by 4-foot space of the wall on the second floor of the Marvin Burke building and put together a huge display on Jane Addams' life and on Cedarville and on Hull House and all the rest of that. So I wanted to let everybody know that we have a community unveiling event that's happening on, he says I should do this, happening on Saturday, September 22nd from 1 to 3, and everybody in the community is invited to this event. This is a community unveiling, so hopefully everybody will come. And just to give you a flash of an idea of some of the things you can see, this is the original Hull House building. There were actually 13 buildings ultimately in the complex, including a 5-story gymnasium, and an art gallery, a theater, and I could go on and on. But let me just say that everybody in the community should show up on Saturday, September 22nd, anytime between 1 and 3, the second floor of M. So, community open house, please come.
Thank you, Kay. Tommy.
I want to tell Police Chief he did a good job, and I saw you on TV, Channel 23 News. It looks good on that TV. And I want to tell Joey Miller, did you hear about that old Eagle store by Lincoln Mall?
Yep, we're working on that, Tommy.
And that Staples is closing on the 5th, October?
That's correct.
And Chief Bogwood, they got an announcement to make. October 10th, it's in Mulberry Church. They're going to have the Special Olympics banquet. October 10th. Make sure you write that in your calendar.
Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 16, which is executive session. Madam Clerk, could you please read this for the record?
Pursuant to 5 ILCS 122C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act. Also pursuant to 5 ILCS 122C21, discussion of minutes lawfully closed under this act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by Section 2.06, and action will follow this item.
Do we have a motion to enter into executive?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made by Alderman Busker, seconded by Alderman Keister to go into executive session. Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Keister.
Aye.
Chesney.
Aye.
Clem.
Aye.
McClenathan. Ross.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Busker.
Aye.
And Bryshaw.
Aye.
That passes 8-0.